I don't take anything Jerry says after games very seriously. I mean, he tends to get emotional. Then he has sort of that cool down period. Then he does his radio show the next day. Or
John McMullen and Jody McDonald make up your Mac Birds 365 guys here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Check out Johnny's missives at jakibsports.com. And yeah, we throw this out there every once in a while. What do we need to ask them to do, John?
like, share, subscribe. 367 strong. Like, share, subscribe.
And we'll continue for another 365. Johnny's going to 1,365 already. I can't get there yet. No, I can't look that.
Now, that's how many listeners are live right now. I think we set a record yesterday, Jody. I'm not official. Live viewers. I don't recall ever getting that high, but
yeah,
the number wrong.
The number got up pretty good yesterday. It's quite understandable after the Eagles played the way that they did. And what we do after every Eagles single game, and we did it without getting real formal about it yesterday, but we certainly did it by giving our opinions on what looked good in the Eagles' dominant win. We graded out their performance yesterday. We nitpicked a little bit on a couple of things, but that's what we do here on Birds 365. We try and keep the balance, much like Shane Steichen's perfect balance of run-pass ratio. We try and do the same with giving credit, and we had to give more credit than questions because they won as dominantly as they did. But we pointed out a couple of things that could have been better. But there's one guy in town. We love him. We have him on with us. He's always great. But when I saw this morning, I said, whoa. What the hell are you talking about? John McMullen, what would you give the Philadelphia Eagles a grade for Monday night versus the Vikings in special teams play? A plus to F.
I give them a D. Only because Aaron Cepas chased down Chris Boyd, who runs a 4.45, by the way, to give you an indication. I looked it up. That's what he ran coming out of college. So he's not a slow guy. Now, he had to gather himself. Obviously, over what race, he's not catching him, but Aaron's very athletic for a punter. But, man, the kickoff returns were terrible. Letting up the block kick, especially Noah Tungiai for being elevated for his blocking, Jody. That was kind of an issue. So yeah, I mean, that was the one part of the performance I didn't love. That and the penalties. And that was about it.
Our buddy Dave Zangaro gave the Eagles a B on special teams.
B. I love Dave. How's it give him a B? Did I miss something?
It had to all be tied to the Cepas tackle. Because other than that, how do you possibly look at that game and go, oh, they were okay? Yeah, the Vikings didn't break one on defense. They were able to hem in Jalen Reagor. So what? Everybody hems in Jalen Reagor. That's nothing to be proud of. They were bad on special teams.
Now, anytime you give up a block kick, I mean, that's bad. That's bad. Number one. And then I just can't get over the thought process on the kickoff return. So maybe I'm being too harsh, but
no, you're not. I thought I was looking at C-D myself and couldn't believe what I saw.
Look, here's what I said. When I watched Gannon and I watched the game again, and Fran Duffy, give credit, who does a great job with the film stuff for Eagles.com, he put up a bunch of clips of the zero blitzes. Every single one of them went straight up the middle to take advantage of Garrett Bradbury. And I give Jonathan Gannon a ton of credit for that. A ton of credit for identifying the weakness, exposing the weakness, and really doing a good job for his team. On the other end of that spectrum, Minnesota said, you know what? This guy's terrible. We're going to use this mortar kick, and we're going to pin the Eagles back. Now, it didn't matter because they couldn't do anything defensively. But imagine if they were a good defensive team, and you're starting every drive inside the 20 and you've got to drive full fields because your stinking kick returner can't do anything, I got a problem with that because you had Boston Scott. Now, would you prefer to have a game breaking threat who can take it to the house? Yeah, but you don't. So just use the guy who can be competent and do the job. I have a real problem that the Eagles won't pull that trigger because Quez Watkins, hey, great play on offense, can run by people. He can't run through people. And if you can't run through people, you can't be a kick returner in this league. Eagles have to recognize that.
And while we give the Eagles credit for, like Jonathan Gannon, bringing his blitzes up the middle, recognizing a weakness on the other team, that's why Minnesota didn't kick it out of the back of the end zone.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
why they dropped that kick in on the 4-yard line every single time, because they know, all right, well, we don't believe they're going to break one on us, so we've got a chance to pin them certainly less than 25 and maybe inside the 20. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what happened, because Quez he's not going to be able to run through a tackle.
Yeah. And they took advantage of it. And if they had, that's what I'm saying, Jody, if they had a decent defense, people would have been complaining, oh, the Eagles had to start inside the 20 every single time. That was the plan from Minnesota. They executed that small part of their particular plan to perfection, and they did it because they saw weakness. The Eagles should see that same weakness and put Boston Scott back there.
Well, one other guy, in addition to McMullen McDonald and a good percentage of you Eagle fans, there are still some of the Jalen Hurts. I won't call them haters. I'll just call them doubters instead out there, even after that outstanding performance on Monday night. One guy who's come around is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, on his
Jerry Sprighton
radio show said, and I wasn't looking forward to playing the Philadelphia Eagles with a quarterback who's making things happen. They're going to be able to give us all that we can handle. Oh, yeah, the Eagles are across the board, but specifically at the quarterback position. And they play in week number 6. Jerry is all but guaranteed that Dak Prescott will be back by then. I don't know. Did you see this, John? And I apologize for I need to take better notes when I'm trolling, going through Twitter. Somebody yesterday posted that Jerry was optimistic that Dak could play this week. I saw it. It said week 3. This upcoming week is week 3. I think he retracted that on his radio show, and I think he said 3 weeks. He'll miss 3 weeks. So he'll be ready for week number 4.
Yeah.
And the Giants play the Cowboys this week and Washington the next week. What'd you say? Sorry.
I was told that same thing. I had not heard it. I was asked that on a different show. And
I know I saw it somewhere on Twitter. Somebody said Jerry Jones believes that Dak can be back as soon as week number 3, which would be next week. And this is a surgery that usually knocks you out for 6 to 8 weeks. And Dak was going to be back in 2 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, Jerry, to my knowledge, is not a doctor.
Don't tell Jerry that.
I'm sure he is hopeful. Look, I think that would do more harm than good, to be honest. I mean, if you're pushing the guy back on the field that quickly from that type of injury, you're probably more susceptible for re-injury, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, Jerry, look, it must be fun to cover the Dallas Cowboys because, I mean, there are no other owners who speak after games. There are no other owners who do weekly radio spots. And he says whatever the heck he wants to say, no matter who he contradicts, what he contradicts. I would not expect Dak Prescott back for week 4. If he is back by week 4, I'm sure he's not going to be ready to be back by week 4. And he's probably playing through something he shouldn't play through. So Jerry's Jerry.
You and I see it exactly the same. He's already skimmed back the fact that he's going to be able to play this week against the Giants. So that's not happened, so you don't have to worry about that. But the week after against the Commanders, if you're an Eagle fan, I absolutely believe you should be rooting for Dak Prescott to play. And for one reason and one reason only. He could re-injure himself.
Yeah.
He's going to be back for the Eagle game. When the injury first took place and the original diagnosis was 6 to 8 weeks, that certainly included week number 6 with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Now it looks like he should be back shorter. And that can happen, that you can have an operation that you don't know exactly how much damage is done. After you do it, you realize it really wasn't that bad. So you shorten up your diagnosis for return. That does happen. I'm not questioning if that's possible, but it sounds a little short to me. And if you're rooting anything, if you're an Eagle fan, let Dak come back. Let's get our hands up. Let's make sure he kisses the ground at least a couple of times. And then he is out for that much longer, because I guarantee you, if he has to have the surgery redone, it's not going to be back in 3 weeks.
Yeah. And I don't take anything Jerry says after games very seriously. I mean, he tends to get emotional. Then he has sort of that cool down period. Then he does his radio show the next day or a couple days after, and he gets a little bit more sense into him. But with Dak Prescott, and I've said this pretty consistently, if I were the Cowboys, I'd err on the side of caution. I'd make sure he's 100% before he's back out there. And by the way, they won a game with Cooper Rush, and they won a game last year with Cooper Rush. How about letting the guy lose a game before you start panicking? That would be my advice. Not that Jerry would ever listen.
And you were, I don't know if you were tuned to that Cowboy game. Again, we all have our preconceived notions before the games are played, and then we have to reevaluate and maybe give more credit or give less credit depending on what you say. I don't think much of Cooper Rush. He doesn't do anything.
All he does is win games, Jody Mack. All he does is win football games.
And he did it again on Sunday against the Bengals.
Big throw, too, late. Big throw late.
Back into, and the guy was pretty open. But you're
Doesn't
right.
matter here when guys are running 5 yards open. Doesn't matter here.
That's why I brought it up, because you minimized what the Eagles did because the wide receivers.
I got to minimize it there. I got to minimize it.
Right.
Can't minimize it.
Cooper Rush didn't exactly throw a laser down the field between two defenders into a very tight window. That's not Cooper Rush's forte. But you are right. The guy does find a way to win. He did last year. He came in against Minnesota, filling in for Prescott. Got a win. Came in this week against the Bengals. And one thing about the Bengals, and I did say this, and I think somebody shot me a text or a tweet and said, damn, exact same thing you said on CBS on Sunday night. Joe Burrow, who I'm a fan, had maybe the greatest college football season ever that a quarterback had at LSU, got himself rightfully the number 1 pick in the draft. Gets the Bengals in his second year after getting hurt year 1. And I remember, Mike Tannenbaum, who we had on a year and a half ago when we just started Bird 365. Keep your eye on Joe Burrow, because those quarterbacks with the lower extremity issues, injuries, don't come back the same exact. Burrow comes back and takes the Bengals to the Super Bowl. So Tannenbaum kind of missed the target on that one. But Joe, I got to say this about Burrow. He just refuses to get rid of the football.
Yeah, he does.
Drops back, and he believes that his guy is going to get open, and he's going to have time, and he's going to wait till the exact perfect second to release the football, and then the pocket caves. And he doesn't get out of there. He never throws the football at a time. He never throws the football away. There's a reason why he's the most sacked quarterback in the National Football League. He really does push his offensive line. Every once in a while, you just got to say discretion is the better part of valor. Get it the hell out of there and don't take a 10-yard sack.
Yeah, and I know we got to get to break because Kevin Kincaid's in the green room. But, since Kevin is here, he does his hot takes every once in a while, his hot take columns. I'm going to do one of my pet peeve columns. That's because I got way more than 50. But one of them is that nobody places blame on the quarterback for any pass protection. You heard it week 1 with the Eagles. Oh, the offensive line was poor. No, you're supposed to get the ball out. They're not supposed to block for 100 seconds. You're supposed to. Quarterbacks have responsibility when it comes to pass protection. You're exactly right with Joe Burrow. Look, not a great offensive line, but he bears some of that blame. There's no question about it.
He is John McMullen. I am Jody McDonald. We are the Mac and Mac Bird 365 duo. Up next, our pal Kevin Kincaid from Cross and Board jumping in on Birds 365.